Alright, so in addition to Amonkhet Remastered having a bunch of Hour Devastation Amonkhet cards, it also had a number of other cards in it from different sets, and one of those tools was Demonic Pact. So it's a 4-drop enchantment that says at the beginning of your upkeep, choose one of the modes that you haven't chosen yet. Deals 4 damage to any target, you gain 4 life. Target opponent discards 2 cards, you draw 2 cards, or lose the game. So the basic idea here is that we want to utilize effects like Flicker of Fate, or Yorion Sky Nomad, or Final Payment, or Sacrifice Demonic Pact to Doom Foretold before we get to that lose the game line of text. So we're looking to leverage this card to get value from its first 3 modes and then either remove it or blink it to reset it before we have to use that last mode. The rest of this deck is just kind of a black-white control deck. We've got things like Oathakaya and Birth. We've got some Doom Foretold to kind of whittle down people in terms of card advantage. I'm interested to see how this feels in a blue-white control world. We do have Doom, Blessing, and Pact to generate card advantage, but we also have things like Birth and Trial and Oath that don't really have text against the various Hallowed Fountain control decks. So we've got discard spells and some extra card advantage in the board, so maybe we have enough to swap out. At any rate, let's go ahead and jump on into... Oh yeah, I should fix the Fabled Passage. I really wish... It's really annoying. They, like, split. I have one M21 Fabled Passage, and I have a playset of Eldraine ones, and it, like, defaults to splitting them for whatever god-awful reason. Alright, let's do it. No, this is not Ace. Yes, that's worth noting. There are variations of this archetype that have been going around the ladder that are playing Yorion as a companion. This is not one of them. So we have Yorion in our deck as a 5-drop because Yorion's just a playable card. It's one of the reasons why it's one of the best companions. But we are not playing an 80 card deck with a companion. Opponent playing mono black, it looks like here. I would assume based on the 2 swamps. Could be red blacks, I suppose, still. It's a decent control matchup, but a really bad ramp matchup. Aren't the control... So, like, when you say it's a decent control matchup, are you including, like, the Bant control variations that are basically ramp decks? Like, is it good against the Bant decks with, like, Uro, Growth Spiral, and control elements? Bant control is a ramp deck with control elements. I think that's... Yeah. So you're saying it doesn't have a good matchup there, which probably means it's a little bit loose. If I play Treacherous Blessing, I have to discard a card to hand size. That's also probably not a big deal, right? Like, I don't really need triple Blessing. Double-edged. Thanks for the 3/4 of a year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. That is a gate to the afterlife. Are we dead? I think we're dead, chat. Turn 4. Put Godpharaoh's Gift into play. This kills creatures. Woof. Alright. Well, poop. And then Craterhoof is lethal now, right? So they have a Crater Hoof in there, so they'll flip that out, and it'll be a 6/6, 7/7. Combo. Yeah, Mono Black deck looks sweet. Worth noting that Grafdigger's Cage has 0 impact in a matchup like this. The way this deck is constructed, I actually have 0 ways to interact with factual 0 ways to interact with an artifact. I have Doom Foretold as a way to interact with an artifact, and that is literally it. Is this a Settle the Wreckage matchup? Maybe. I think Duress isn't good. While they have high impact cards to tag with Duress, they don't have a high density of cards to tag with Duress. So in a matchup like this, Duress is frequently going to miss, which means it's not good enough, I don't think. And again, like, people in chat that are suggesting other pieces of graveyard hate, like, this is how interactive decks work in non-rotating formats, chat. You never have enough sideboard slots if the format is appropriately diverse. So we're choosing to play Grafdigger's Cage, and all the people that are listing things like Kaya or Ashiok or Rest in Peace, you're right. Those cards would be good here, but there's also a ton of other matchups where Grafdigger's Cage is just much better. So, like, you can be Twitch chat, and every time you play a matchup where your graveyard hate doesn't line up, you can knee-jerk react and make a change. Or you can just accept the fact that this is the way non-rotating formats work, and you're frequently not going to have the answer you need because that's how this works. You're gonna cut your Grafdigger's Cages for a different piece of graveyard hate, and you're gonna queue into goblins. That's just like... The new Runeterra set has been really impressive, Panda. Whenever new sets come out, in any card game really, like, this applies to Magic too, it's always a, like, really humbling reminder of, like, the pieces that go into the deck building in these games really make it difficult to get good evaluations of cards without actually playing with them. It's like, and this is something that, like, looking at how Runeterra creators made content too, it made me realize that, like, a lot of these things transcend just Magic. Because, like, it's very common in Magic too that creators, like, give takes that are too early and they're not waiting to have enough information to really make informed takes. Yeah, big agree, Juka. Stuff like that is super, super common. John, thanks for the 5 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. A lot of those things are just like, these are just card game things. They're not Magic or Runeterra things. I'll be a little greedy here and bin a land, assuming I'm going to draw one. Now we'll probably bin a Treacherous Blessing. I think, again, I don't need 3 of them. Well, so there's middle ground to that too, though, Innuendo. So, like, while I don't think people necessarily... I think a lot of people understand that a deck can't be good in every matchup, but the degree to which you are bad is also a really meaningful metric, right? So, like, if a deck is favored in every matchup, you're right that that deck's unhealthy because it's too good. But, like, the flip side of that, too, is that, well, if this deck is... in this deck's bad matchup, is it a 40-45% bad matchup? Or is it a Is it a 40-45% bad matchup, or is it a 30-70 or 80-20? And I think that that's something that, especially in Magic's non-rotating format, has struggled with for a long time, is that Magic's non-rotating format tend to have pretty polarized matchups. They tend to have matchups where one player is incredibly favored in the matchup by default. I think I'm just birthing again here, and then planning to Murderous Rider this Rankle so it can stop punching me in the face. And like, to Wizards of the Coast credit, like we've been joking about them talking about things being polarized in their last ban list update. But I think getting rid of polarization is a good thing inherently. The problem is that I don't think they can just you can't just ban Field of the Dead and solve the issue with polarization in Magic. Like, the Fire design philosophy and a lot of decisions that have been made surrounding Magic in recent years make really polarizing formats. I don't think it is a stretch to say that, like, more polarized gameplay is more the norm than the exception in the last year. The last year and a half. You ever tried Darkest Dungeon? I'm not familiar with what that game is, Rook Jackson. I'm sorry, Rook Jackson. I'm not familiar. Do 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 do. Do. Would a $50 donation cut the Runeterra key? Let me peek. Yes. In for that, Crazy Duck. So, like, they can sack this to scry, but it's, like, also not the end of the world because then I don't lose 2 life. I like the name Violent Gems a lot. Tis a good one. So I have 7 mana this turn. My opponent can bring back a Rankle next turn. So I think I'm... Hello, youngest son.
I'm Jacob.
You're not Jacob. So I have a decision to make here. I could play Yorion as a flying blocker, which could be valuable with my 12 life. I could also just Demonic Pact, though, because this gains me a little bit of life on the backswing. I think that's what I want to do. I can, like, play Demonic Pact and then play Treacherous Blessing to draw 3. I could also be merit to playing Treacherous Blessing first and then just, like, resolve to, like, lose a life when I play this in case I draw something better here. Yeah, like, so, if I would have let on Treacherous Blessing, I could have Othakai'd this, which then would have let Doom Foretold kill the God Pharaoh's Gift. Because remember, these are token creatures, so they can't sack these here. So perhaps it would have been better to lead on Blessing, so I could perhaps try and get the God Pharaoh's Gift off the table. Now we die? Why are we dead? Can you explain why we're dead?
I'm Jacob.
You are not Jacob.
Yes, I am. I'm Jacob.
How's this deck so far? I don't know. We're in match 1, game 2. Just getting started. So I'm gonna go ahead and Murderous Rider, Brain Maggot, which means their God Pharaoh's gift is going to go away here. You are not Jacob. I've met you.
Hi, I'm Jacob.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and just play Demonic Pact out here again.
Jacob, hi, I'm Jacob. I'm Jacob.
Is there any visual indicator on these of which pact has been used on which modes?
No, my name's Jacob though.
Negative, Time Lord.
Mine's Jacob.
Hey, I love you, bud. But Jacob or Declan, whoever you think you are, I need you to, I love you, but you need to go. You need to go while I'm working. Unless you need help with something. Yeah, so the one on the left is... The one on the left is the one I want to sacrifice. I think. I hope I clicked the right one. Do I want to trigger... I don't think I want to lose Doom Foretold yet. I think I want... So I could kill this and force Doom Foretold to sacrifice, but I don't think I want to do that. Yeah, Doom Foretold wearing them down definitely seems like a net positive for us. There's nothing highlighted on this card. The interface on this card is completely unacceptable and should not have made it to production. So, I'm going to lose my Doom Foretold next turn, so I'm going to sack the Demonic Pact. Because Doom Foretold's going away. I don't want to get cheeky and lose to my own card by mistake here when we're really far ahead. Hey, Brimstone, thanks for the 16 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I feel like if there was a theme song for the deck that we're currently playing, it would definitely be Misery Business. This deck makes garbage time and blue-white look short. Yeah, this deck is big on garbage time. Is she allowed to have a body like an hourglass, or will she be removed from the WotC streamer whitelist? Oh, that's... So, opponent missed sacrificing their own thing there, which would have denied us gaining life. Wonderful. See them escape a Ghost Rider again this turn. I wonder if they think they could, like, grind through my Doom Foretold plus Castle here. That seems ambitious. What's kind of funny is that they're at 20 cards in deck and I'm at 23. Like, my opponent's swimming uphill taking game actions, but, like, this is a game where, like, I feel like if I could play with my hand face up on the table, my opponent would concede. It's like if Arena just had a reveal hand function, they'd know they couldn't win. No, my deck's not about ending the game, chat. I'm not sitting here playing Magic for the chance of ending the game. I think there's a good chance we deck them here. Like, and if you don't want to sit through games like this where it takes forever and your opponent eventually decks out, like, this isn't the deck for you. Our deck is all about garbage time, chat. A majority of the games you're gonna play that you're winning with this deck are about garbage time. This deck is called Doom Foretold, not Doom Now. Oh, that's great. They're down to 12 cards in their bin. They're accumulating goats. We'll sack the Demonic Pact to Doom Foretold here. We'll continue grinding down their board with Doom Foretold and blocking with Castle. Like, they're literally just not making any progress. They're, like, adding a goat to the board each turn. Like, maybe they think they can have my Doom Foretold grind out itself, but, like, I'm just, like, playing with them, right? Like, I have Eliminate, and I have this, and I have, like, Final Payment. I can, like, kill their stuff and get the Doom Foretold off the table at any point. Alright, hopefully this will be a concession, Brain Maggot. Like I said, I think that game would have ended half a dozen turns ago if I had a reveal hand function in this application. No joke. Like, there are literally games of paper Magic where, like, both players are on a clock and, like, you both need to finish the match in time where, like, you're playing a deck like this and you just, like, play with your hand face up on the table just to, like, it's not rude. It's just, like, let your opponent know that, like, we need to finish this match in 50 minutes, and you can't win, so concede when you want so we can go to game 3. Like, it's not like Magic Arena where, like, you both have a individual timer, right? MTGO does not. It does not. You can reveal your hand at the end of the game in Moto, but not at the start. Ah, Thoughtseize your Thoughtseize. We're a real non-rotating format, chat. Back in your paper tournament days, did you ever? Yeah, a number of times, Jerry. Like I said, it's not even a being rude or ego thing. It was always more of a, okay, this match is going to go to time. If you don't concede to garbage time, neither of us want to draw. Let's go to game 3. You're almost 0% to win here. Here's my hand. Want to prioritize killing their non-token creatures here. While that's marginally better for Gate to the Afterlife for them, it's better for our Doom Foretold. Label, I think, if you're a casual player, that mindset makes sense, but, like, people who, like, play a lot of competitive Magic understand that draws are bad for both players. So, like, a draw doesn't do... And again, I'm not talking about conceding a game 3 where you're dead on board and they're playing a slow deck. I'm talking about it's game 1 or game 2 and you're effectively dead and you need to win game 2 or game 3. Something that was very common during RTR Innistrad Standard. There was a blue-white control deck that won the game by decking the opponent while it played Elixir of Immortality. And that deck, talking about tactical concessions, I remember playing against that deck. I had a rule when I was playing mid-range where I would never concede to the blue-white deck in game 1 until the timer was at 25 to 30 minutes, because my mid-range or aggro deck could win 2 games in the last time. But I wouldn't slow play. I would take my game actions at a reasonable pace, but their deck just spent so much time in garbage time that you just played at a good pace until the timer hit 25 or 20 minutes, and then they probably couldn't win the match if you won game 2 on the play. So I have a decision here. I could Treacherous Blessing. I think I'm supposed to Blessing and hope to high roll a black source. The problem is if I miss on black, I probably die here. And now I can final payment, kill you, sack you. So like that's a good example of your deck is slow. I'm going to punish you for your deck being slow, kind of. I don't actually remember, Misha. You might be right that it was RTR Theros. I don't remember the exact timeline. I totally missed it, crazy deck. You're great. I appreciate you. Trundle Swain sounds great. I like to mid-range. I appreciate the absurd support. I'm glad you're enjoying Rune Thrower stuff. Alright, so what are we doing here? How do you feel about getting Demonic Pact going? Probably not good. Am I supposed to hold on to this to sack a Demonic Pact? Could be right. I kind of want to kill 2 things this turn, but I don't want to lose life to do that. Maybe I do.
door open?
Yeah, it keeps the room colder.
I'll close the top of the stairs then.
I think we're dead, chat. Hello, baby girl. Are your brothers listening better?
Are the decks still okay to play even in this time?
They are. And in fact, Runeterra is wonderful. So if you want to try the new cards, there's a lab that has 6 pre-built decks in it, where you only play against the other pre-built decks, and they have new cards in them.
It's cool.
It is very cool. Can you say hi, baby Haley? We died to a combo deck, baby girl. I told you.
Dad, you.
Oh, don't be mean to me. I'm trying my best over here.
Dad, I did PE class with Jacob.
You did PE class with Jacob. Oh, careful, bobblehead.
Dad, you're supposed to be holding me.
I got you. You're just a little crazy. You're a little crazy. You can't tell right now, but there's Haley's in chat. About 2 years from now, 3 years from now, you're going to think that's really cool.
Dad, what makes you think I don't think it's cool right now?
Because I bet you can't tell that that's you. You can't tell that it's you in the mirror.
Maybe babies are the most intelligent beings on the planet and we just don't know, and the second they learn to talk and could tell us, they lose all of their intelligence.
Oh yeah, maybe. Maybe. He's super smart. Baby genius. Are you the boss, baby? I saw that on TV. Oh, I love you, Fussy.
Dad's gonna pawn you off when you start crying. Dad, I'm a baby blimp.
Baby blimp.
Required update is available.
There's a patch. Patches? I don't need no stinking patches. What do we think, chat? Are the patch notes out? Did they fix Phyrexian Tower?
You need to restart your client.
Anybody have patch notes yet? What are the odds? What are the odds Phyrexian Tower was addressed?
About a week after the patch goes live.
Maybe they improved the Demonic Pact interface. Yeah, I got your last message, Magic Arena. Don't be pushy.
Is it gonna be like Windows and just decide that you can't delay it anymore and it's just gonna do it for you?
No thoughtfulness before action.
Magic's a fun game where both players have sweet effects and they get to utilize them.
You have to restart the client first.
That's a good draw. Nailed it, chat. Nailed it.
I won't forget our time together.
I am the hay. I am so pretty.
She's a little bit bobbleheady, but yeah, she can mostly hold her head up now. So we're gonna lose this other Treacherous Blessing here.
What if she was like a parrot on your shoulder?
You're a pretty cute parrot, baby girl. So I played the Yorion out aggressively here, because I would kind of like to get my hand empty so that way I can start castling. Blasting them down to 12 is also nice. Gosh, they Thoughtseize twice and shocked 3 times. Or twice. They Thoughtseize twice, shocked twice, did 8 damage to themselves. 10 damage to themselves. Thanks for taking away the trial I didn't want to cast anyways. Appreciate you, opponent.
Quit heckling the opponent.
Bye, friend. Ecker, thanks for the 20 months of support there. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping us around. Good morning. I am committed to redrawing that Doom Foretold opponent. Pretty sure I'm just cashing this in here. Why do these Grixis decks always look awful? Because they are awful. Automatic, thank you for the 20 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Got to Mythic with a Kisis combo deck. Good combo. We get a memory here and let us both wheel. This is like the Grixis Hail Mary button. I'm 3.5 years old, and I still have more coherent thoughts than whoever is pretending to be president now. Oh, democracy. Yeah, I'm gonna play another 2-3 out here. Another 2-power dork. Just try and kill them. Alright, there's the Hail Mary. I don't know if they can deal with 2 threats with only 3 mana, huh? We'll find out. Goodbye, friend. Feels Grixis, man. Feels Grixis. It's pretty clean, huh? Cut all of the cards that are not very good here. I want to leave in Othakaya because it kills Narset. It also triggers my Archon of Sun's Grace. Sweltering Sun, sure. Yeah, if they had a red sweeper. Could have done it for 3 mana. Good call. Morning, Chrono Jam. Oh, is this patch? Someone just tweeted a picture of a rock pet in the store. Is this the Is this the add the Zendikar pre-purchase update? It's the pre-order patch? Yeah. Discard spell your discard spell. A tale as old as modern. So thankfully my entire hand is just like, screw you card advantage, so cometh at me. I am committed to redrawing this Phyrexian Arena. This is where the Magic the Gathering happens, chat. Right here for you all to see.
Meditate and prepare.
It's a good call. If we draw Murderous Rider. If we draw Murderous Rider, it could deal with it. What incredibly interesting and not polarizing gameplay.
I was not prepared for this.
I agree we're not out of this game yet, for the record. It's gonna feel bad, but it's definitely not over. Although, our Demonic Pact might get us here. They have commit and neutralize. Actually, I'm probably supposed to leave this, huh? Because this plussing would let me kill these. Yeah, I should have taken their counterspells. Just huge amounts of player agency, chat. This is where I would put my player agency if I had any. Honestly, I think that is a good example of one of the reasons why discard spells really suck, right? Like, discard spells feel bad when you have them cast against you, and they also feel bad when your opponent peels out of them. So, like, it's a mechanic that explicitly leads to feel bads for both players. It's so weird to me that, like, that type of, like, that set of emotions that you're eliciting is, like, the average that we want in all of these formats. Thoughtseize. It's funny, whenever I hear people, they're like, I hate this Thoughtseize format. It's like, well, you kind of hate Magic, right? Because, like, every format in Magic's a Thoughtseize format. I guess Standard's not a Thoughtseize format at the moment, huh? There was a point in Magic when they reprinted Thoughtseize and Theros where quite literally every format in Magic was a Thoughtseize format. Bad feelings are more memorable and often lead to more time playing. God, humans suck. I believe you that is accurate. We are the worst, it's true. Can I offer you a decision in this trying time? I actually can't beat Hardcast Shark Typhoon, so I think I have to take that.
Will resonate throughout the multiverse. I outsmarted you eons ago.
Yeah, I agree with that, Bums. There's a lot of the decision points in Magic are pretty scripted, right? Like there's a base level of like familiarity with the game that you need to know, but like to a large degree, like if you have even a small level of Magic understanding, a lot of your decisions are fairly straightforward. Sometimes there's percentage plays that you need to make that require judgment, but you know. I don't think we're quite a good game yet. I know, and again, these games feel bad when they go long like this, but we're definitely not anywhere near 0% at the moment.
A feeble effort.
I think Hearthstone tends to have more in-game player agency than Magic a lot of the time. And in part, that's because of how their combat system works. Hearthstone's combat system is incredibly interactive and creates a lot of different permutations of things you can do because your creatures can attack their other creatures, which adds a lot of layers to the decision onion. Whereas like Magic, the decision is attack versus not attack. And actually, like, Planeswalkers, I think, get an unnecessarily bad rap from a lot of experienced Magic players, because I actually think Planeswalkers as a card type tend to be very interesting and create more good decisions, because Planeswalkers, when done well, give you more choices with how you're attacking, which I think is a good thing. I think Magic is a better game when the gameplay is more board-centric, which is the tough part about these counterspell all your things, play a ton of spot removal control decks, is those decks explicitly are not board-centric decks. They create games where there aren't a lot of decisions that you make because you don't have a lot of game elements in play to make choices with, right? There's a patch we gotta restart to download. So like big board Magic, for lack of a better term, I think is some of the best Magic that exists. And that's why the game is better, I think, when the games tend to be more creature or board centric as the top tier play. Yeah, like I think some of the best matchups in Magic are like aggressive mirror matches. Like, I know a lot of people complain about decks like mono red aggro, but I think if mono red aggro, just a casual 1.5 gig patch. This patch better be adding a bunch of animations to my Amonkhet remastered cards. If that's the reason why it's 2 gigs, I'll forgive you. Yeah, I think there's a media packet on Riot's site. I should find the link, but there's a place where with a bunch of the full arts like this. So everything, almost every card in Runeterra you can full art and see gorgeous pieces like this. Toe Smasher! Thanks for the 17 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. It's been almost 6 weeks since Phyrexian Tower was added to Magic Arena. Hopefully this patch finally fixes it. So actually, fun fact, Crappy Lawyer, you have a little bit of a revisionist history going on. The original Planeswalkers were not mythics. So Planeswalkers were introduced in Lorwyn, which did not have mythic rares. So the OG Planeswalkers were just rares. Mythics came later. Mythic started in Shards of Alara. Thank you for giving this precise date. Yeah, they were close at the same time. Next block there. So it's easy to forget that. But Planeswalkers themselves didn't necessarily introduce Mythics. Lorwyn 5 were the only Planeswalkers ever at rare until war. Okay. Yeah, I agree with that, Weg. I think a lot of, like, I love Croaky's description of the blue-white decks are Gandalf decks. They're for decks for people who fancy themselves a wizard. But I think, I feel like there's, like, this growth sector that a lot of experienced Magic players go through, or even just people that are playing for a while, where, like, you think that decks that have a lot of removal and counter spells are going to have more choices and be more skill testing than the aggressive decks, but Magic's threats tend to be so pushed. There's so many cards in Magic where it's just like, well, you have to answer me or you die, that you're not really making decisions a lot of the time, right? Like, you're not making a choice, do I answer this thing? You're presented with the question, can you answer this thing or you lose the game? Which means that the control decks a lot of the time end up with that scripted gameplay where it's like, well, okay, they played a thing, I have to counter or kill it or the game is over, and the games just end up being a series of yes-no questions a lot of the time, right? Like, did they have a sweeper? Yes, we keep playing. They didn't have a sweeper. The game has ended. Game-winning threat. Do you have the Doomblade? You do. Okay, game continues playing. I don't, yeah, like, they're like decisions. Wonder if we're gonna see Collected Company here off the Phyrexian Tower. It's kind of what I'm expecting. Is that an indictment of control or the current power level of threats? I think it's a mix of both, Fearburger. I think even when the threats aren't overbearing, control tends to not generate board-centric gameplay. And in my opinion, board-centric Magic gameplay is the most skill-testing gameplay Magic offers, because board-centric gameplay tends to offer more permutations and decision trees. This has Death Touch, so we're not blocking with my wall. Yeah, control. So, like, a little while ago, I definitely would have agreed with you that control beers definitely had a lot of back and forth. I'm glad that we got rid of Teferi Time Rev. I think that's a step in the right direction. But honestly, cards like Dovin's Veto and Narset are very similar in that way, right? Like they're kind of like, they're very similar to the types of things you see out of aggro decks in these control mirrors, right? Where it's just like, oh, they stuck the Narset, I didn't have the answer, the game ended because they stuck the Narset. And like, that used to also happen with Teferi, so I'm very glad Teferi is gone. But that play pattern of, this is the threat happened. I don't think that's true at all, Piff. I think that's too much of an extension. I think I think a lot of War of the Spark, and I think a lot of Ravnica is incredibly good. I think explicitly the things that are difficult to interact with were not good. The one-sided prison effects. So I think Teferi and Narset were definitely mistakes. I think you could make an argument that 4-mana Karn, which is a one-sided prison walker as well, is probably a mistake. And I think you could say Nissa, because of mana doubling, was also not good. But other than those 4 cards, I actually really like War of the Spark as a set. I think there's a ton of planeswalkers in there that are awesome. I think there's honestly a ton of good static effects on planeswalkers that I think are really sweet. Yeah, 4-mana Saurian, 3-mana Ashiok, 3-mana Kura, 3-mana Domri. Yeah, Feather is an awesome design from War of the Spark. Too often, humans write off entire groups of things because of a dislike of a small sample of them, he says, describing racism. Sarkhan the Masterless is a sweet planeswalker from War of the Spark. Big agree. Doom on you. Doom on you. Our opponent is in love with the Coco, chat. Did we die? Hello, darkness, my old friend. Do 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 do. Yeah, I agree, Violent Journey. We don't judge all enchantments based on Blood Moon. We don't judge all artifacts based on Ensnaring Bridge. Maybe I'm supposed to lead on this. Is that the third collected company? Gross. God bless America. We're actually just dead, right? 3, 6, 9. Damn, she's fine. So that's 9, 12, 14, 15. Yeah, we're actually just dead, right? I see lethal. Have we won any matches with this deck so far? We haven't, right? We're ONX. Trial of Ambition's actually kind of bad here, huh? I'm gonna go to 2 of those. Leave a couple of these into draw cards. No, we lost to Godpharaoh's gift chat. Yeah, we lost game 3. Christy came in with Haley, so you might have been distracted by the adorable, but we've won games that felt like entire matches. Yeah, and that's actually the psychology. 12x longer than any of my relationships. Thanks for the 2 years, Colin. I appreciate it. Welcome back. The psychology of playing decks like this, I actually think is incredibly interesting because, and this is why decks like this are big brain, feel smart decks, is because it's very easy to feel good while you play a deck like this, even when you're losing matches, because the games you win are so incredibly long and drawn out and miserable for your opponent that the raw number of minutes, like, we've lost every match we've played with this deck, but I would bet if you go back and check the tape, we've spent more minutes of time winning games than we've spent minutes of time losing games. Because this deck is incapable of winning quickly, it feels better to play than it actually is. I think is an interesting psychological aspect of these type of kind of do-nothing Dirtle control decks. I think they were just too. I think they're just too efficient and too pushed, Crappy Lawyer. So, like, a good example of something similar to Dovin's Veto but doesn't get a bad rep is Counterflux. When you put that effect at a higher mana cost, it's a lot less offensive. For an example. Yeah, and mana intensive. Like Counterflux is blue, red. And then the fact that things like Narset and Teferi, we've talked about this before too, those cards were one-sided effects, right? So, like, they're not symmetrical. A lot of prison effects, traditionally speaking, are symmetrical. Okay, so our opponent is in love with the Coco here. Unfortunately, just can't put a permanent into play. I could play another Doom Foretold, but then I'm gonna have to sacrifice them to themselves. So I think I just pass here and play into Murderous Rider this. Oh, okay. Well, I was expecting a company there. No, I didn't Oath Their Face. I was expecting Collected Company to happen. Have a land on top, please. God bless us, everyone. I would like to trade this 1 for 1, thanks. They played the land before casting their other Citadel. Have to just trade this again, which feels bad. So, like, Doom Foretold is supposed to be my card advantage, so, like, trading them 1 for 1 here is not what I'm looking to do. They're gonna try and draw company before this resolves. I'm happy with how I boarded. I'm gonna run it back. Maybe the Settle the Wreckages are bad. Settle's good against their fair draws. It's really bad against Citadel, though. Mr. Hello. Thanks for the 25 months. Welcome back. Yeah, I decided to start early again today, Gengar. Been going for about an hour. I mean, there's never a guarantee I can get rid of my Demonic Pact, but the odds of me not having one is, like, pretty low, Vanu. They're just valuing their time. They're 87%. They're likely just playing Magic for fun. So, again, I think a very critical mistake people make with discard spells like Duress is you shouldn't board in Duress based on, does my opponent have high impact things that Duress hits? You should board in Duress based on, is it likely to be able to take something as opposed to just 1 for 0 for 1-ing me? This is almost exactly Caleb's variation, Gengar. It's been very unimpressive. I started with his list and changed like 3 or 4 cards. So, against the Collected Company deck, Duress is incredibly likely to miss. I think it is a bad card to board in for that reason. If you only win games and not matches, shouldn't you play best of one? No. Magic is a game that you should be playing for fun, and if you don't enjoy playing best of one, you shouldn't play best of one. So I play Magic because it's a game that I enjoy playing, and I don't enjoy playing it as a best of one game, so I don't play it that way. They have Gray Merchant in their Collected Company deck. You do you, opponent. You do you. Yeah, exactly. Violet Journey. It's exactly correct. Alright, so we got 3 draws to find an answer to our Demonic Pact. Yep, had an arena patch today. Still can't tell what options have been used on Demonic Pact. Oh, I can't draw the thing, right? I was thinking I could draw final payment, but I can't. Yeah, this deck's really bad. I almost didn't accept this one, but I feel this was an archetype where I felt like I needed to accept it at least once, because if I didn't accept it to have a video to point to for why it seems bad, people are going to keep submitting it. So now when people submit it, I can say, I'm not playing this, you should go watch this to see why. Shouldn't this deck be playing Yorion? Yeah, I am. Yeah, just pretty typical interactive deck problems. Answers don't line up well into their threats in a variety of matchups. Can't close a game to save its life. Felt really clunky and awkward. Wasn't a fan. Yeah, speaking of decks that are good in Magic and good in this format, I'm gonna hit a quick ad roll, and when I get back in a couple of minutes, we're gonna play what I think is one of the better decks in this format. We're gonna play some blue-white enchantment. So we'll be back in just a few minutes. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere.